So when you're swapping an E36 engine into an E30, and so this won't apply if you're using the ZF transmission, but if you're using the original Getrag, well, as you can see, the transmission sits a little bit more sideways, so you'll have to change this selector rod here to a different one, or you can just bend this one 10 degrees one way to have the shifter sit where it's supposed to be inside the hole. Another thing you'll need is this custom mount. Will allow you to mount it here, and it'll allow you to mount the mounts where they're supposed to be, since it's 10 degrees twisted now. So as you can see, I put the selector rod, the original one, without twisting it or anything on, and we'll see how that affects it. I haven't clipped anything together because I'm gonna come back, take that off, and put the correct 10-degree twist selector rod so that it sits the shifter where it's supposed to be. But I'll show you guys how this affects it here in a minute. So as you can see, it has the whole shifter is cocked one way. It shouldn't be that way. So here are the selector rods side by side. The reason why that shifter was sitting a little bit crooked and just twisted to one side is because of this is completely straight, and now since the transmission is sitting at an angle, we have to get a new one that sits a little bit crooked. As you can see, that one's just got a 10-degree twist to one side, and that's enough for us to have a centered shifter. Plus this will make it feel a lot better because there won't be any side-to-side movement, as opposed to this having a ton of it. Also decided to refresh pretty much every single bushing in the whole shifter assembly. This will reduce the amount of play that we have from side to side, forward to backward as well. Of course it's only temporary, just because next year I plan on upgrading to the solid mount shifter, but for now it'll have to do. So it's a little cramped in here, so I'm just gonna make short videos here, but basically up here, I think right there in that little U is where the shifter goes. You just gotta line it up, and then you gotta put in the bitch clip, the clip that's known as the bitch clip, through there, and then clip it in. After that, then you can just mount it up here to the rear mount, and it should be it for that piece. Then we can continue by installing the selector rod. Okay, so I said I was gonna buy this not until next year, but I sucked it up and bought it. A lot of people online say that this thing is probably the best mod you can do to an E30, so we're going to see if the hype lives up to the product. So basically this replaces the entire shift linkage underneath for the little cup. It creates a new pivot point right here on the trans tunnel, so this piece, this bottom piece separates from the top piece and it just wedges in there. This creates a short shifter and just makes the shifts really crisp and just feel really notchy. So basically, to install this, first step is we got to separate the two pieces right here, just by taking these little bolts off, and then we can sandwich it in between the trans tunnel. So in the trans tunnel, you can kind of see the little indent right there. That's where the shifter is going to sit. Just like that in there, and then this bottom piece is just going to sandwich it up, and we're going to put the bolts back in. That'll hold it in place. So that sits in there like that, right in that little indent. Then I'll show you from underneath how it looks. So this is the whole mechanism that you're replacing. So typically the points where it mounts is this little pivot point right here. That has a lot of side-to-side play, especially with it having two mounting points right there and right there. So that this kit eliminates all that, makes it feel a lot better. That's what it looks like from the underneath. You can see kind of light through the holes. This plate just goes in like this. And that'll go into that little ring there. And then you'll just have somebody thread it in from the other side. I think the biggest thing that people say is that this is a lot easier to install than the original shift linkage, and I can definitely say that it is. this only took like maybe 10-15 minutes so far. The other one took about half an hour to an hour. So now that we've tightened the top piece, sandwiched the 2 plates in, now we can connect the bottom linkage. Okay, so now I'm gonna just shove these pins right through. Fuck. Kind of hard doing it one-handed, but it's possible. Alright, so now that we have it all installed and everything, I can confidently say that this is probably going to be my favorite mod. Honestly, just the way the shifts feel, they just feel so direct, like it's actually in gear. I wasn't too big of a fan of how it felt beforehand, but I mean, that was with loose bushings and everything, so. But honestly, if you guys are on the fence about this, go ahead and pick one up because it is well worth the money. You can get these from Garagistics, but you can also get them from different brands. I know AKG Motorsports sells their version of it, and a few other companies actually do too. But like I said, well worth the money, and I mean, honestly, I can't wait to drive this thing just to see what it feels like. Didn't really do too much as far as the installation process, just because it is a pretty simple installation process. Just like I said, replaces a few steps from the regular process. But honestly, if you guys have any questions, let me know. I will answer them here in the comments. But overall, yeah, I think I'm going to wrap it up right there. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys on the next one.